Anytime's a great time to get your art on at the Rehoboth Art League. I'm Jackie Ferris. This week on the 302, we are here at the Rehoboth Art League, checking out all there is to offer and finding out what's coming up in 2024. Get ready, the 302 is headed your way. Any time of year is a good time to visit the Rehoboth Art League, especially if you're looking for home decor or for that special gift. And I'm joined now by Nick Sarator to talk a little bit about everything that the Art League has to offer. Nick, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
So we're standing here, it's December, but by the time we show this episode, it'll probably be the spring. But it doesn't matter what time of year you come here, there are things that you can purchase as gifts, right?
That is correct. You know, we offer art to the public on a year-round basis. So that includes member sales gallery. Members of the Art League are allowed to showcase their work here on a year-round basis. In addition to that, each month we hold exhibitions, special exhibitions that come in here. So we have a little bit of everything that goes on from January through December. And of course, right now we have highlights of our member sales gallery. When our exhibition season ends, there's an opening, and I've got these two big galleries. So we invite our members to bring in extra work. So during the gift-giving time of year, people come here and see a wider range of art, three-dimensional art, 2D, which is paintings, you've got sculpture, you've got candles, you've got glass, you've got pottery, you got it all.
So when we talk about having it all, they're really, you're not joking. I mean, for instance, you have got some really beautiful glass jellyfish. Can you tell me about those?
Connie Bellato was the artist of those, and very creative. And she did more than just like these glass jellyfish, and everything's original of her work. She did a lot of ornaments. She does sun catchers. And when we think of these things, we think of something that could be like you would see at a department store, but these are original pieces of art, all hand created by the artists, handmade. They're all unique and they're very original.
So how would you display something like that? Would you put it next to your window, or would you put it on a stand? I mean, what's the ideal way?
I think whenever you have glass, usually just natural light is the best way to show it off. Unless you have some kind of pedestal or something that lights up, just natural light hanging by a window each day kind of brightens a room and just changes color with the time of day. So I always recommend anywhere there's natural light, put the glass.
Now, because we are so close to the ocean here in Rehoboth, there's a lot of beach scenes. And I know that you have one on the back wall next to, what kind of, is a swordfish?
Yeah, a swordfish.
Can you tell me about those two pieces? Because they're really beautiful and they complement each other.
They, again, from two different artists, they do complement each other. When I arrange the gallery, I try to have things complement each other. They kind of like go together so it's pleasing to the eye. And here you've got this large, massive, quiet surf painting from Geo McElroy from Maryland. And her work is just very soothing. They're large scale. You can you feel like you're right there at the beach. But right next to it, then you got this whimsical swordfish floating in the air. And, you know, it's, again, it's like a totally different style. It's a totally different subject matter, but that kind of works, you know, and that they work well together. And of course, the viewer, they're going to see, again, they're not like focused on one thing in here. Yeah. Your eye goes all over the place.
Absolutely. And for animal lovers, there are lots of animals. You have two dog paintings. One is a Frenchie. I love Frenchies because I have two of them. And the other is a photo of a black lab. Can you tell me about those?
Well, again, they're from our artist. The French bulldog just captivated me when the artist brought it in. It was just a small painting. Is, you know, we all see pet portraits, you know, all the time. But this one here with the gaze on his eyes, she really captured it. And if you really notice closely, like the background's blue, but there's almost like a halo around it. Yeah. You know, the way the gradation of the blues go around the dog's head. The other one with the black lab and the shopping bag, that was just something like the artist caught. And, you know, even though it's a personal thing, it's something she wanted to share with everyone. by bringing this piece in for sale. And it's just a whimsical, snapshot of a dog who got caught into a bag and trying to get out.
Sure, sure. And as you look around the studio, you see different kinds of sculptures.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that has glass and wood, and several that, just have many materials. Talk to me about the sculptures, because when people think about art, it's typically something they think of, the first thing, stuff on the wall, but there are things that you can put on your coffee table, on your shelves, your mantle, that can really add to your collection and add interest to a room.
Yeah, and what the beauty about these sculptures is that it's nothing that's recognizable. It's not like, we always want to see something or make sense of it. So what the artist did capture was, creating two elements. It was driftwood, heavy pieces of driftwood, combined with fused glass to kind of make a statement on top. So again, it's conceptualized. It doesn't remind you of a thing or any particular object. So you're just there to enjoy it as one unit, combining elements together. And that's what makes the piece very, very strong.
Now, for somebody who is just starting to collect, I guess it's all about taste or your preference. What advice would you give to someone who, maybe they're in Pennsylvania or they're, in Wilmington, and they want to start their art collection? This is the perfect place to come.
It really is, because we have our price ranges. The artists set their prices, so you've got things that are affordable, all the way up to things that are worth maybe several $1,000s. So there's a price point for everyone. Anyone who's starting out, give yourself a budget, and just don't buy something to buy it. Like, I want to have this, so I can make a statement. Really like the piece. If you really, really like it and you can afford it, and you can't live without it, that's what you're going to go for, because you're always going to have that hindsight, gee, I should have bought that. Gee, it was original. Gee, I really wanted it. It makes you got to feel something for it. It should make you happy. And if you're able to get it and you can afford it, buy it. That's any kind of advice I would give to anybody who's starting out with their art collection.
Well, you guys hooked me with Rear View Magritte.
Yes.
With Bob Weston. I came, I did the member show.
That's right.
I saw it, and I was just blown away that it was inlaid wood. I thought, how could he do that? And I thought about it, did a show with him, and then I ended up buying it. So you're absolutely right. You have to love it.
Exactly. If you remember, you were only here just for a short time, just like less than 15 minutes. It captivated you. Painting with wood, with the veneer. And that's the whole idea. Like, you fell in love with it. It spoke to you. And so now it's yours.
So now we're going to talk about more art that hopefully will speak to you when we return.
I'm Mike Connolly. I'm the Executive Director at the Newcastle Historical Society. We'd love to welcome you to Newcastle and tell you all about the history of the 302, Delaware.
Welcome back. We're at the Rehoboth Art League talking about art you can buy year-round here in the gallery. I'm joined by Nick Sarator. Now, Nick, you are an artist as well?
Yes, I am.
And you have several pieces hanging for sale here. Tell us a little bit about your autumn painting.
Well, I work in pastels. I've been working in it all my life, so I've been working steadily at painting for the past 35 years. And my pastels are mostly landscapes, and I don't paint exactly what I'm looking at. I like to incorporate colors, almost into like a dreamlike state. And so with my work, I primarily work in my studio. I recently had a show, and my work is large scale. So this is actually a smaller piece that I've hanging on the wall today. But the times of year, there are certain times of year I really, really enjoy. Spring and autumn. So a lot of my paintings reflect this time of year, which is the one painting that I have in here now. So take us through your process. So do you go out and find a spot that speaks to you and take pictures? What do you do? What my subject matter is, when I'm out, it could be just random. I could be just driving in my car and I can look over to my left and see this beautiful expanse of the field with some clouds or the way the evening sun is setting, and then I snap it really quickly. And so I'm not out planning to walk around and I'm gonna spend the day photographing stuff. So it's just, I see something that's really commonplace, and I get the idea and I have to like photograph it or sketch it right away. And then I go to my studio, bring it out, and then start working on the piece.
It really is beautiful when you look at it. You can see all the different layers of your work. Talk to me about is it harder to work with it's because it's chalk, it's a pastel chalk,
Yes.
as opposed to paint, or what's the level with that?
It's like any other medium. You have to like start out lightly and work your way up. And again, pastel is a little more forgiving. There's no drying time. So when I start a piece, I start and I keep going until it's finished. So the paper I use is sanded. It's a very coarse sanded paper. And there's variations of pastels. There's different degrees of thickness and density. So I start with the harder sticks first, build up the color. You have to be very gentle with it. And you start layering and you transition into softer pastels. And to the point where I have so much on there, some people mistake them for oil paintings.
When you look at them, they're really, really nice. They remind me of almost impressionistic, got a little bit of a Monet flair. I mean, who are your influences?
Well, believe it or not, some of my biggest influences are like, Georgia O'Keeffe, but her stuff was really hard edged. It wasn't like really soft, very graphic. My other influence is Wolf Kahn. Wolf Kahn was an oil painter as well as an established pastel artist. He died around 2 years ago, but I was very influenced. When I first saw his work, I was always focused on O'Keeffe. I really liked the way she operated, how her creativity, her thought process. And then I saw this artist and I looked at his work and I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is how I want my paintings to look. So I didn't want to copy anyone. You have to kind of evolve into your own, but you're borrowing those ideas, that passion and their thought process, which goes into the work.
I've heard that generations borrow from each other as we move forward. That an idea, there are no original ideas, just expanded ideas. And it really is amazing when you see that in artwork. So when you put together a piece like this, is it just, are we seeing what it is, or is there something else to it? Because like an extra theme or a hidden meaning that you're trying to convey?
Well, my work is pretty atmospheric. It's very dreamlike. And my thing is like, I want to place, when I paint, I want to escape into it. And so, that's what I want the viewer to do. I want the viewer to become immersed in their own experience when you're staring at that work. Things transition, they convey memories or provoke thoughts. So that's what I try to capture in the piece. And however the viewer responds to it makes it even more, because that's what they're getting out of it. Not what I did, but what they feel from it.
Yeah. Do you find that you get lost in your work and an hour has gone by and you're covered with dust and, color?
Absolutely. I think they're the best ones. Painting is also a business. Sometimes you have to paint just to produce. But there's those moments when you're working on something and when you become immersed in it and you forget the time, they end up being the strongest paintings.
Absolutely. And it's such a release, I mean, some people exercise like crazy, some people express themselves. So this is like, you can just kind of get it all out.
I can, and it's like I enjoyed. I spent a lot of time in my studio, but my real passion is cooking. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, so I do enjoy that. Painting for me has always been something that came naturally. I just knew I wanted to do it. But then again, there's times where it becomes business, and all of a sudden the creativity kind of escapes you, because you're producing and you're not being creative. And any artist, it's hard to be creative 24 hours a day.
Absolutely, but you have to do it in order to keep your name out there and even to grow. You have to force yourself sometimes. How do you deal with times where, you know that you have a show coming up, you got to just do it, and you're just kind of like stuck?
It has happened. It's happened, when I prepare for a solo exhibition, like months and months and months of your free time are spent in the studio. At first I had a problem with it, but after you do it so many times, you become seasoned and you don't even think about it. You just do it. Yeah. And then when you're not doing it, because once you come off of that, it's hard not to do anything. It's hard not to sit still and do nothing because you feel like you should be doing something. Yeah. And that's what you take away from that artist world. You just can't not paint when you're finished.
Now, is that something, do you have times where you say to yourself, okay, I just did a ton of painting, I just need to sit still, I just need to resist the urge? Is it kind of like you build up momentum, kind of?
Yeah, there's always a goal. There's always a goal, and you try to reach those goals, and once you do, then you can't, for some reason, you try to sit still, but now you're on to the next. Now, what's the next big thing? Yeah. And for some artists, this is their livelihood, so they have to be creative all the time. They have to work all the time in their studios because there's no guarantee in the art world as far as sales. So you always constantly have to keep striving, and I think there isn't any downtime.
Fantastic. Well, we certainly have enjoyed looking at your work. We're going to come right back and talk about all of the things that are happening here for 2024 at the Rehoboth Art League. We'll be right back.
I'm Alexandra Deutsch, Director of Collections at Winterthur, and I love the arts on the 302.
Welcome back. We are at the Rehoboth Art League talking about all the wonderful things you can see, things you can do, things you can take home, things you can gift. I'm joined by Nick Sarator. So let's talk a little bit about 2024. You start off with a bang with a photography exhibit. Tell us about that.
We do it each year, and of course we do start off the year with a bang. And actually it's our openings like the week after New Year's Day. So like, January 5th, exactly. So this year, again, we do it's the 9th annual Regional Juried Photography Exhibition. It was open to photographers in Delaware and the surrounding states. There's 6 states. And you have to live in those states in order to apply for the show. This year's judge was Phyllis Berger, a very gifted photographer. She selected the award, the participants, the juried and artists. And so we have over 37 artists, and we have around over 65 entries that were selected. In addition to it, Phyllis will also be having her own solo exhibition in our Ventures Gallery. So you can see the judges' work alongside all of the selected artists' work.
Absolutely. And can you give us a preview of some of the selected artists?
We do have them in there. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head right now because there's so many of them. But there are some familiar names that are members also of the Art League. We have Dave Magyar. We also have Wendy Erickson. So we have there's a slew of artists that are involved. Some of them I've never even heard of before. I haven't met.
And the subject matter spans a wide range of things, from nature to people to, abstract ideas.
The judge was very good at selecting it. There is a diversity of subject matter. But not only that, it's the way photography has been taken to the next level. The artists are printing on metal now, they're printing on acrylic, they're using Photoshop, and also computer-generated images are now incorporated into the photography, which makes it very interesting. The way they are producing work now is totally different from what we call the norm, where you'll just see a color photograph or a black and white. Just the medium has just been taken to a new experience, a whole new level. So again, it makes for a very exciting show. Some works are very small, some works are very, very large, and they're just all very unique, very unique.
You talk about the medium changing, the tools have also changed. I know that some people, they still use dark rooms while other people are doing things with iPhones. It's really amazing.
There is, because there are several artists that were selected where they're using the old process of gelatin silver print. Now they're inside their dark rooms developing. And then on the far extreme, you've got people creating their photography through the computer. So they're taking their images, they're downloading it, and they're doing photo manipulation. And again, these can be printed out at any size and on any kind of surface. So again, it's like really an interesting show. And again, the subject matter it goes from being very traditional to very abstract, and also to images that you want to know what's going on inside there. It can be very dark, very moody, and to really capture or actually really see what the photographer has done to it.
So let's talk a little bit more about the judges, Berger, the exhibit that she is going to be having.
Phyllis Berger, her work is very interesting. She was several times an award winner, and we had asked her to be the judge this year. Her body of work is featured, is actually her visit to Ireland, and she incorporates herself into each one of her photos. And there are a total of 13 images, but they tell a story. So they're going to be hung in such a way where there's the first one, that transcends into the second, into the third. But she herself, she puts herself into it through photo manipulation. And she's almost like acting in it, which is just unusual. So you're gonna see the photographs, these beautiful, the scenery is gorgeous, which she was able to capture. Some will just be void of color except for her in it. So it's just a very interesting
It's really cool. Phyllis
matter.
goes to Ireland.
Phyllis goes to Ireland, and she did a heck of a job. I mean, and again, Phyllis pushes the envelope. She really does. She's on the cutting edge. She does not your typical photography. She's also a professor, and so of photography. So her thought process is very unique.
Yeah.
Yes, it really is.
So let's talk about the rest of the year. We have the members show, the arts and crafts, the fine arts and crafts show.
Mm-hmm. And we also have a special exhibition that's opening in January with the work of Edward Loper Jr. Edward Loper Jr. is one of Delaware's great artists. He studied at the Barnes, very well known in the North. Unfortunately, Edward had passed away several months ago, but we're still going forward with the exhibition through his son, Jamie Loper, and also co-curated by Shamika Jones. So we're really looking forward to that. That exhibition is going to be showcased for 2 months. Also, during the course of the year, we have an artist, a quilter from France, Anne Bellis, and her show is called From River to Ocean. So that also will be coming up, and we're very excited about that. Very beautiful abstract quilts. And the motif is centered on water. So with how she incorporated these colors into it, it's going to be a very exciting show.
So it sounds like you guys have a fantastic year on tap.
We do, and also, of course, our exhibitions change every month. So when we do have an exhibition, we showcase at least 2 to 3 artists, all different. In addition to the exhibitions, we have our traditional grandfathered-in shows, which is our Members Fine Craft exhibition in June, followed by our Members Fine Art exhibition in July. We have the big show, our beloved outdoor show, our August outdoor show, which is for the first 2 weekends of August. Over 120 juried artists are throughout the entire campus with their tents. It's a wonderful festival. And, followed by the holiday fair and cottage tour. So we got something the Art League is just open all the time. You can always expect something different each time you come in here.
Absolutely. Well, Nick, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Jackie.
We'll be right back. Are you enjoying all of this beautiful art? I know I am. If you happen to come here and visit the Rehoboth Art League, snap a picture and share it with us on Facebook. Now, here are a couple of other things you might want to check out. more information on the Rehoboth Art League's exhibits or any of its activities, you can visit RehobothArtLeague.org. That'll do it for this week's episode of The 302. Make sure you follow us on Facebook to get tons of behind-the-scenes content you're just not going to see anywhere else. We're going to leave you now with a stroll down the boardwalk. Until next time, I'm Jackie Ferris. Tell them you saw it on The 302.